Hello class, and welcome to day 3 of section 10.5, which is where we are going to cover the midpoint formula. By the end of today's lesson, we will be able to use and apply the midpoint formula to find the midpoint and to find endpoints. A midpoint is a point on a line that has the same distance between the two endpoints. So it's the point that's in the center of the line, right in between those two endpoints. The midpoint formula says that for the x, you're going to do x1 plus x2, get that answer, and then divide it by 2. Same thing for the y, you're going to take y1 plus y2, and then divide that by 2. The midpoint will result in an ordered pair. So it's going to give you a coordinate pair just like the two endpoints. So, for example, we are finding the midpoint between A, which is at 9, 4, and B, which is at negative 7, 3. So we're going to label x1, y1, x2, and y2. So when we do this, first I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find the x coordinate. So I want to take x1, which is 9, and add on x2, which is negative 7. 9 plus negative 7 is going to give me 2. Dividing that in half gives me an x coordinate of 1. Then I'm going to go ahead and find the y coordinate. So I'm going to take y1, which is 4, plus y2, which is 3. And that's going to give me 7. Dividing that by 2 gives me a y coordinate of 3.5. So the midpoint here is going to be 3.5. Go ahead and find the midpoint of C and D on your own. So we find the x, negative 5 plus 1, which is negative 4, divided by 2 is negative 2. To find the y, negative 8 plus negative 4, which is negative 12. Divided by 2 gives you negative 6, so your midpoint is at negative 2, negative 6. We can also use the midpoint to help us find the endpoint. So in this case, the midpoint of xy is m is equal to negative 4, 5.5. One of the endpoints, x, is negative 3, 8. We're going to find the endpoint y. When you are doing this, you need to set up our formula. So our endpoint that we don't know, so we've got negative 3, which we do know, plus the endpoint that we don't know. So I'm just going to call it x. That divided by 2 is going to give us our midpoint answer, which is negative 4. Now we have an equation that we can solve. One thing that is not in this formula that you can put in if it helps you remember, that top part is in parentheses. So when we do SAD MEP, that top portion comes last. So first we need to get rid of this divide by 2. So we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides, giving me negative 3 plus x is equal to negative 8. In order to get rid of a negative 3, we're going to add 3 to both sides of our equation, giving us the x coordinate is going to be at negative 5. Now, we need to do the same thing, but with the y coordinates. So our y that we know is 8, plus the y that we don't know, divided by 2, is going to equal our midpoint coordinate, which is 5.5. Again, if it helps you, you can put those parentheses back in the numerator to remind you to do it last. Multiplying both sides by 2 is going to give you 8 plus y is equal to 11. Then you're going to go ahead and subtract the 8 from both sides, which is going to give you a y coordinate of 3. So your endpoint y is going to be at the point negative 5, 3. Go ahead and try this one on your own. The midpoint of FG is 9, 4. One of the endpoints F is at 8, 0. Find endpoint G. When you solve for g, you are going to get that your other endpoint is at 10, 8. If you have questions about this or anything else from the lesson, please feel free to reach out and let me know.